and what intrigued you as you discovered more and more things? Because I love that first chapter, that this
When
was
I
brilliant.
when I retired, I had been doing this research on all the families, not just this family, but all of my families. I'd been playing with it since I was 25 years old. And so when I retired, I've got all this stuff, and it's in boxes. A lot of it's digitized, but a lot of it's not. So I spent about 2 years just digitizing. I retired in 2014.
What was your profession?
I was a lobbyist for agriculture, et cetera. So I've looked at what I had online, and I thought, no one is ever going to read any of this stuff. Nobody cares who begat anybody. I mean, we're moving on in this world, and people aren't going to take the time. I was more concerned about the young people. And I realized that especially young people will read a narrative account of something, whereas they will not pick up something that is just dry. And so that's where I started. It was for the young people in my family, so that they understood what happened to these families during those early days when they first got to this area. So that's kind of why I wrote the book. And then the second were the other that I mentioned in my speech.
So what were some surprising things you discovered, besides some of these crazy laws that you
The Indian War. I knew that was the time period of the Second Seminole Indian War, and I knew that was the worst of the 3 wars. It was the worst on everyone. And so when I was doing an outline for the book, I gave it 1 chapter, and I thought that was going to be enough. I was absolutely blown away by how many massacres there were all around her. Her next door neighbor, they actually could hear that one. Not too far, about 1.5 miles from their home at Sandy Ford, where the road now, US 90, crosses the Osceola River, there was a big massacre right there. It just happened, and it went on for years, a good 5 or 6 years of this. They just kept getting hit over and over all through that area. And the Seminoles did not want to give up, and they didn't. They're unconquered even today. They're still here.
So what primary sources did you use?
Oh, I had never counted.
Well,
It's a lot in the back of the book.
Yeah, but like, which ones did you say, if I'm gonna write, more of history, because there are a ton, this is all
That's
just
amazing.
I'm telling you, the work that went into this is what I appreciated, and as I mentioned on the structure, sometimes the chapters will seem like little short stories, but the appendix in the back too takes into more detail about a certain event or a certain person or genealogy. Explain that whole thing about proof